Today I'm going to be taking you through how you can add 10% to your bench press, gain the competitive advantage when it comes to getting a bigger, stronger and more powerful upper body, and how that more powerful upper body will help you conquer your opposition on the rugby league field. Now, building bulletproof shoulders should be a goal of every young rugby league player. Why? Because rugby league is a contact sport. Actually, no, strike that. Spears, can we cut that? Actually, no, leave it in there. Leave it in there. Rugby league is not a contact sport. Ballroom dancing. Ballroom dancing is a contact sport. Why? Because you make contact with another athlete. You hold hands, you spin them around. Soccer. Soccer is also a contact sport. They jostle for the ball. There's slide tackles, which can get pretty hairy. They make contact with each other. So it's a contact sport, right? They make contact. But rugby league is a hitting sport. You don't just make contact with the opposition players, you hit them, and you hit them as hard as you absolutely can. A big part of the game is standing back 10, 15 or 20 meters from a 110 kilo plus muscle-bound monster who's going to catch the ball and he's going to run at you as hard as he can like his life depends on it. And you've got to stop him. You've got to use all your strength, all your power, all your love, everything you've got to stop him.
All your strength, all your power, all your love, everything you've got.
Okay, that's Rocky IV, fantastic movie, maybe a little bit over the top for the point I was trying to make, but the point is you've got to hit him and you've got to hit him hard and you're going to be using your shoulder to do it. And in a game of rugby league, you're going to have to do it over and over again. You're going to have to do it with both shoulders and you're going to have to hope that your body, in particular your shoulders, are capable of holding together with the force of the impact. Not only that, but your shoulders also need to be capable of delivering force in the form of a palm or a stiff arm to fend off defenders when you're running the ball. So whether it's in attack or defense, building bulletproof shoulders is really important. And that doesn't just mean having big delts like a bodybuilder or a Marvel action hero who looks like Tarzan but plays like Jane. So yes, if you train properly, you'll definitely add on mass. But remember, we don't just want muscles that look good, but rather are good. We want shoulders that are strong, powerful, and capable of both delivering and receiving force. And the way that we do that is by building a solid foundation, by building our house on rock instead of on sand. So what is the rock that's going to give you both strong and stable shoulders? Well, it's a series of boring, bland, and unexciting exercises, unfortunately, that target your external rotators and your lower traps. Now, before you say to yourself, this is boring, I'm going to go find another video that shows me how to get jacked, just give me a moment or two and I'll show you how using these exercises can add 10% to your bench press in a really short period of time, and how the extra support provided by strengthening these muscles will improve your performance on the field. So, what do we need to do? Well, we need to include at least one external rotation movement and one lower trap or trap 3 movement in our program as ancillary exercises. Now, these can be included in your programming in a variety of ways. You could use them as an A3 exercise on either your upper or lower days, or as a set of C exercises after your main lifts. If you've watched any of our other Joe Knows videos, we've done both an upper day episode, a lower day episode, talking through how to structure those programs. And this is really kind of part 3, and we will be doing a part 4 where we look at incorporating some arm work. But for the purposes of this video, we're going to include our shoulder stabilizers on our lower body day as our C exercises. Now, to show you how effective this can be, I'll tell you about one of my first experiences using this with a young footballer. It was about 16 years ago, and that young player was actually my future business partner and co-founder of League Fit, Chris. Now, Chris first came to work with me when he was just 18, and at the time he was playing SG ball. We started by running him through a battery of tests, one of which was his bench press, as well as his external rotation from knee and single arm dumbbell trap 3 raise. His 1 rep max on the barbell bench came in at 100 kilos and his body weight was about 80. His external rotation from knee came in at 6 kilos for 8 reps on the right side, and he got about 4 reps out on his left. And on his trap 3 raise, he could only get out 8 reps on his right and 3 reps on his left with a miserable 3 kilo dumbbell. Now, the target range we use for both external rotation and trap 3 is 10% of your 1 rep max for 8 to 10 reps in both the external rotation from knee and the single arm dumbbell trap 3 movement. So he should have been able to lift 10 kilos for 10 reps on both sides with both exercises, and he was miles off. So for the next 9 weeks or 3 programs, my focus was to bring up his external rotation and lower trap strength. In fact, we focused on it so much we didn't even do any direct chest pressing work at all for the first 2 programs. We just brought in a little in the last program, and you know what happened? We tested his bench press 9 weeks later and it went up from 100 kilos to 112.5 kilos. So he gained 12.5% on his bench in 9 weeks with basically no pressing at all in his program. Pretty crazy, huh? Now think of it this way. The prime movers in the bench press, the muscles that do the main work, are the pecs, the deltoids and the triceps. Now those muscles were always capable of generating that much force, but because of their base within the shoulder itself, the base was weak, not strong, they couldn't express that strength properly. There was in essence, there was an energy leak. It's like trying to run fast in soft sand. You can be as strong as you want in the legs, but the second your foot hits the sand, the force is dispersed into the unstable surface and your strength and your power output drops. So when you're trying to bench press or shoulder press or perform a pull-up or a row, or when you're on the field and you're trying to fend off an opponent, a strong joint allows you to exert maximum force. A weak joint doesn't. So let's take a look at the two movement patterns that you need to be doing that, if done properly and consistently, will help turn your shoulders from sand into stone. The first movement we're going to be looking at is an external rotation movement pattern. Now these exercises target two muscles of the rotator cuff, the teres minor and infraspinatus, which sit on the back of the shoulder blade, and they're responsible for externally rotating the humerus, or basically turning out your arm. So if you're one of those guys who walks around the gym, you know, like RoboCop, that probably means that these muscles need a little bit of attention. So let's briefly look at the three exercises, the three movements that you should be doing to train this movement pattern. The first is the 45-degree external rotation with cable. In this movement, you start with your hand in front of your belly. The arm sits at a 45-degree angle away from the body, and you externally rotate or turn out the arm holding the cable. Make sure you don't bend at the elbow, but rather keep the angle between your forearm and your upper arm at 90 degrees the whole time. The next movement we're looking at is the external rotation from knee exercise. The final movement is the elbow high external rotation with cable. In this movement, we are keeping the elbow out at 90 degrees, and again, the angle between the forearm and the upper arm stays at 90 degrees throughout the whole movement. So those are the three external rotation movements. Now let's have a look at our lower trap movements. The first is the single arm dumbbell trap 3 raise. The next is the dual dumbbell trap 3 raise. The final movement is the standing cable trap 3 raise. Now for all of these movements, to start with, add in one external rotation exercise and one trap 3 exercise as a C1 and a C2 exercise on your leg day or your lower day. Perform 4 to 5 sets, 10 to 12 reps for each, and make sure that every 3 weeks you progress that exercise to the next in the chain. The benefits from doing this, from building strong shoulders, are multiple. You will reduce the likelihood of injury both on and off the field. You'll get stronger, and like I said earlier in the example with Chris, we often see people add 10 to 12% to their bench press in a very short space of time once they bring those strength ratios up, okay? And this in turn will mean that you can move more weight in the gym, which increases your total training volume, which will increase both your size and strength, and by extension, your power, which will make you much more capable of taking hits and being able to dish out your own on the football field. Building bulletproof shoulders by using big compound lifts in combination with training the shoulder stabilizers ensures that this aspect of your physical prep is being done properly, and when included as one part of an integrated overall strategy, will go a long way to ensuring that you make your next season your best season. Trust me, because I'm Joe, and Joe knows.